Greetings and salutations. I wanted to offer you up a practice today that's designed for when you really want to move, you really want to break a sweat. Sometimes I know when we come to our mat, we just want to stretch, feel good, create some space. And then other times we feel like we have some stuff we kind of want to burn off or chip away. So lots of salutations in this one. A nice little standing sequence that will give you a little bit of everything. And then some hip openers and hamstring stretches for the end. If you like music, feel free to blast some tunes in the background. I love Dua Lipa right now. She's my current jam. So, you might use that. Otherwise, let's come to a standing position at the top of our mats. So once you find your mat, fine, like it's been missing, feet about hip width apart. Let's hang over into a ragdoll pose. So as you hinge forward, you might need a little bend in these knees. And if their hamstrings are tight, you might notice when you fold over that there's a tendency to kind of claw into your mat. So make some space here. Then take a hold of opposite elbow or bicep, your chin towards your chest, and then a little sway side to side. Low back almost always has some tension as a result from these hamstrings. Then pause in the center. Hands to your shins, come up about halfway. Lengthen through your spine. Then this time on the exhale, as you fold over, maybe those legs are a little straighter. Take a hold of opposite elbow bicep and find some stillness this time. And try to have this feeling that your sit bones and your knees are over your ankles. 2 more breaths. Then we're going to drop the arms, bend the knees, roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Shoulders back and down, head the last thing to come up. Big breath in, big breath out. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. They don't have to touch at this point. Hands at the heart. Inhale through the nose, maybe to about a 4 count. Exhale through the nose at that same count. Fold over your legs. First one slow. Halfway up on the inhale. On the exhale, as we fold, 1 foot back, followed by the other, into plank pose. Look out past your mat. Draw your belly in and up. You want to think about every time you get to plank, that's an opportunity to develop core strength. Look out past your mat. Exhale all the way down onto the belly this first go around. Hands under your shoulders. In and out of baby cobra a few times. So inhale, lift up head, chest, shoulders. Exhale, forehead down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale up, exhale down. Then the next one will hold. So inhale, lift up head, chest, shoulders. Stay there, hugging those elbows. Look a little bit past your mat. Another full breath in and out. If you need to let go of cobra to find down dog, feel free. Otherwise, flip the toes under, either to tabletop or plank to down dog. And try to maybe have small movements in this down dog. Those hamstrings are probably still kind of warming up. Then let's find stillness for 2 breaths. Then looking up at the top of your mat, lift up those heels. Right foot forward, followed by left foot. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Inhale all the way up. On the exhale, we're going to go right back out over the legs. Halfway up on your in-breath. Exhale, fold, plant your hands. Your way, if you're a jumper, feel free. Engage that belly. Exhale, either to the belly for cobra, or maybe this time chaturanga. Into up dog. And exhale. Back to down dog for 3 breaths. Again, seeing if you can move that breath in and out through your nose. Like where I am currently, the pollen is insane. So a lot of my breathing is happening through the mouth. Look up at the top of your mat, lift up your heels. If you're a stepper, left foot forward, followed by right foot. Otherwise, jump. Halfway up on the in-breath, exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, right back out over those legs. Lengthen spine as you breathe in. Exhale, fold, plant your hands. Travel back your way. Exhale, down your way. Into that back bend. Exhale, back to down dog, 3 breaths. Oh, made it through the nose that time. Good. Then look up. Lift up your heels. Step, hop, or float to the top. Halfway up on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Inhale all the way up. Let's do one more sun A. Exhale out over the legs. Lengthen the spine as you breathe in. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Travel back. Look out past your mat. Exhale down your way. Into that back bend. Exhale back to down dog. Now, I'd like to say this about vinyasas from here on out. If your shoulders are feeling particularly cranky today, you could always just come back to plank, hold that a breath or two, and go straight back to dog. Then look up at your mat. Lift up those heels. Right foot, left foot, or jump. Halfway up. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Inhale all the way up. This time on the exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to move through a few sun Bs with a couple of variations. So for chair pose, I like my big toes together, but I keep my ankles and my heels apart. If you can bring them together and it feels fine in your hips and low back, awesome. Otherwise, maybe let your feet be about hip width apart. So feet together or apart, bend the knees, sink the hips. Now as your hips come down, you gotta let that butt slide back a little bit. Like the Shri Juvenile said, you gotta back that ass up. Then curl the tailbone under a little bit. This will take that crunch out of your low back. Draw your chest and shoulders back. Arms forward or up alongside the head. And then maybe the hips come down another ½ inch. Take another breath in. Exhale, hands to the floor as you straighten those legs. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, travel back your way, your form of vinyasa. Remember, you can always go straight to down dog from plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, the next two standing poses have a slightly shorter stance. So walk your feet a little closer to your hands, like half a step. Right foot forward between your hands. Left heel is going to turn down. We're setting up for warrior one. Draw right hip back, left hip forward. Inhale, torso is going to come up. Arms up alongside the head. If you thought about having your back against a wall, you would draw your right hip, right shoulder into that wall, left hip, left shoulder slightly away from that wall. Then the arms are overhead, maybe the hands are together, maybe they're not. Then hands to your mat. Step back, plank or dog. If you took plank, maybe there's a vinyasa, maybe there's not. My shoulders are feeling a little inflamed today, so I'm going to sit a couple out. Then, that slightly shorter stance from down dog. Left foot forward, right heel down. Lunge into this left leg. Torso coming up. Hands maybe together, maybe not. So this time, left hip shoulder would be drawing back. Right hip shoulder would be drawing forward. Think about your point of contact here being your left big toe, your right pinky toe. Another inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Plank, dog, or vinyasa. If you took that vinyasa, when you find your way back to down dog, we're going to shift forward into plank pose. Now, we're going to roll to the right pinky toe side of our foot, and our left foot is going to step about halfway up our mat on the left side. This is going to let you really press down into these feet and engage your hips and your obliques to take this side plank pose. Don't worry, there's another one coming up later. Good. And you find maybe a slight back bend, like a smaller than a baby cobra. Then hands to the floor, down dog, full breath in, full breath out. Forward into that plank pose. Left pinky toe, step about halfway up the right side of your mat. Reach that right hand up. I love this variation of side plank because I can really engage my oblique muscles in this variation. Another breath in. Exhale, hands to the floor. Down dog. If you want it, a vinyasa here. Good, 2 breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. Then look up, lift up those heels, step, hop, or float to the top. Halfway up on the in-breath. Exhale, bend those knees, sink those hips up into Utkatasana, chair pose. Again, back that butt up, draw that chest back. Inhale, exhale, fold over the legs. Halfway up on your in-breath. Exhale, fold your way back. Exhale through your vinyasa. Just wanted to see if I could do it. I could, but I didn't like it. Find your way to down dog. Slightly shorter stance. Right foot forward, left heel down. Inhale, up to warrior 1. Exhale, let's do one more breath. Inhale, this exhale, hands to the floor. Plank, dog, or vinyasa. I'm going to sit this one out. That jumping really took it out of me. When you find that down dog, slightly shorter stance. Left foot forward, right heel down. Inhale up into 1. Exhale. Inhale. This exhale, hands to the floor. Plank dog or vinyasa. Back to downward facing dog. Tip forward into that plank pose. Onto the right pinky toe side. This time step the left foot behind you. Again, this really helps you to press into these feet and engage those obliques to lift up that hip. And then that right hand to the sky. Stay here or stack that left leg on top of the right. Anyone sweating yet or just me? Downward facing dog. If you're at home, you can really amp your heat up and really sweat. Forward into plank. Pinky toe side of left foot. Ball of right foot behind that left leg. Reach up through that left arm. Engage those obliques. Again, stay here or stack right leg on top of left. It's a balance pose. And get your heart rate up. Plank or dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Then we're going to come down to hands and knees. Knees about hip width apart. Curl your toes under. Try to get them all on your mat. Sit back to those heels. Maybe eventually walking up so that you're sitting upright on the heels. Great little way to stretch out the fascia and the muscles in the soles of the feet. This is going to help us in this next standing sequence because we want firm, grounded feet here. It's also an excuse to kind of catch your breath. All right, let's walk back out into that tabletop pose. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. I encourage you to do the same. Now, finding down dog. Let's take this right leg up on the inhale. So as you do this, let that left heel feel heavy. Ground your right hand into the floor. Start to roll that right hip open. Bring that right heel towards that left glute. Inhale. On the exhale, square those hips. Right knee over to left elbow. Inhale, three-legged dog. Knee to the nose. Right foot forward. Left heel down for warrior 2 this time. So cartwheel up into warrior 2. The big difference is warrior 1 is kind of a squared, closed hip position. Warrior 2 is a more open hip position. Roll that right hip under, press into the pinky toe side of that left foot. Inhale. Exhale. Let's reverse that warrior. Peaceful warrior. Left hand, left leg, right arm reaching over. Keep the lunge on this right leg. On that exhale, we're going to come forward, right elbow to right knee, or maybe right hand down inside right foot. Lunge into that leg, roll under that hip, left arm alongside the head. Now usually at this point, I have to look down because my next shoulder tends to like that more than trying to look up at this top arm. Keep drawing that left shoulder back. Keep plugging into that back foot. Another breath in. Exhale, both hands to the floor. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot. Inhale up into a crescent lunge. As you lunge into this right leg, keep this left leg straight, but press that left hip forward. Knit these front ribs into those back ribs. We're going to bring the hands to the hips or interlace the hands behind you. Make a little mental note of which thumb is on top. That is considered your top hand. This left foot, hop it about a step closer to your right foot. Start to lean down into that right leg. We're going to lift that left leg as we straighten that right leg and turn this into warrior three. If that bind is throwing you off, just bring your hands back to your hips. Ooh. Make that sound if you feel like you're going to fall. Ooh. Another inhale. Exhale. Land back in that lunge, that crescent lunge. Reach up through your left arm. Exhale. Bring that left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And then your palms together. That left hip is pointing toward your mat. And then a slight rotation toward your right leg. Good. I feel this in my outer right hip oh so much. Take another breath in. Exhale. Release that twist. Back up into that high crescent lunge. Left heel down. Straighten that right leg. Ooh, that hip is on fire. This hip is on fire. Reach forward through that right hand. Right hand down. Good pop. Open up the chest. Reach that left hand up. Ah. Ground. When triangle is your resting pose, you know some stuff has gone sideways. Look down at the floor. Let's lunge into that right leg, hands to your mat. Step back to down dog. Pause here. Bend your left knee. Drop your right heel. And then straighten that left leg. Either stay here or take the vinyasa. Keep in mind, all of this is going to happen on the other side. Then we're going to take that left leg up on the inhale. Roll that left hip open. Give yourself that little kick in the pants there. Then we'll square the hips. Left knee, right elbow. Yes, I did turn around. Inhale, three-legged dog. You do not have to. Knee towards the nose. Left foot forward. Right heel down. Up into warrior two. So again, feel like your hips are opening to this long side of your mat. It's really good to stretch these hip flexors. Look out over that front set of fingers. Keep that lunge of the right leg. Check in, because sometimes, you know, especially in a faster paced class, we kind of forget little alignments and refinements. Peaceful warrior. Inhale. On that exhale, elbow to knee or left hand inside left foot. Right arm up alongside the head. Like we did before, press into front big toe, back pinky toe. Ooh, I am breathing hard, y'all. Bring your hands to your mat. Pivot onto that back heel. Up into that high crescent lunge. This is a bit of a balance pose as well. Good. Then either bring those hands to the hips or interlace the hands behind you. Let that back foot hop forward a little bit. Then let's see if we can take flight here. Push off that back foot as you straighten that front foot. Try to keep those hips level to your mat. Try not to claw into your mat. Then on that exhale, let's land in that high lunge twist. Left hand, left hip. Reach up through that right arm. Exhale, see if you can take that right elbow outside that left knee. Palms together. Twisting towards your left. Press down into that left big toe. All toes of your back foot. breath. Exhale. Into that high crescent lunge. Then turn down onto that back heel. Straighten that front leg. Little letter T arms here. Then we're going to reach forward. Left hand down. Reach up through that right arm. Nice stretch for the hamstring and that outer hip. Then we'll look down at the floor, lunge into the leg, hands to your mat, plank dog or vinyasa. Finding your way back to downward facing dog. Full inhale, full exhale. Walk your feet about halfway up your mat. Then walk your hands back to your feet and roll up. We're going to turn and face our long side of the mat in a big step apart. So feet are maybe wider than your shoulders. If you're tighter in the hamstrings, you can feel free to bring those a little bit closer. If you feel a little unstable in this pose, turn your toes in a little bit. Shoulders back and down, so it's kind of like sassy superhero, like Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. Draw those elbows back. Hinge forward. Good. When you get about halfway, this could be a sign to walk your feet in or to bend your knees. Keep folding over. You could keep your hands on the hips, or maybe you come and take a hold of the pinky toe side of your feet. Whatever you're doing there, chin towards the chest, stretching back of the neck and the whole spine. I love this mat because I don't slip on it, but at the same time it makes so much noise. But I'd rather have the noise than sliding around on my mat. Then we're going to come up about halfway. Heel toe your feet in about half a step closer. Lengthen that spine, hands to the hips. Torso is going to come up. A little bit of a head rush there. You're welcome. Turn your left toes in, turn your right toes out. Then we're going to turn and face the short edge of our mat once again, very much like we did in Warrior One. If you have a block or something handy, could be good to have near this right foot. Right hand on that right hip, left arm up alongside the head. Reach up on the inhale, exhale, hinge forward, plant that left hand either to the floor, inside that right foot, or on that right shin. Press down into that right big toe, that left pinky toe. Start to twist towards that right leg. And then maybe you reach that right hand up into the sky. Whew. Let's take another inhale. Exhale, we're going to let go of that twist and just fold over this right leg. Still drawing that right hip back and that left hip forward. It's a hamstring stretch, but you may also have some feelings in that right hip. Hollow out that belly. Then you're going to come up about halfway. Bring the torso up. Pivot to the other side. Anytime I say pivot, I always think of Ross on Friends. Square up those hips. Left hand, left hip. Right arm up alongside the head. Exhale, hinge forward. Plant that right hand. Take that twist to the left. If you don't get that reference, feel free to YouTube that after the class. Maybe that left hand up into the sky. Two more breaths. I love this pose so much. Let go of the twist. Fold over that left leg. Because you get a twist, you get a hamstring stretch, you get a hip stretch. It even weirdly feels like a little bit of balance. And then we're going to do something different from this pose. Bring your hands to the inside of that left foot. Start to pivot yourself to that long side of your mat. So your feet are maybe a little bit wider than the hips. Turn your toes out. Let's bend the knees and start to squat down. You can always kind of work the feet in a little closer if that feels better for you. You could also bring a block underneath your sit bones. Palms together, hands inside your knees. Long spine, tip your chin down, curl your tailbone under a little bit. This pose is so great for your hips and your low back. You could do this like with one hand on a counter, like while you're brushing teeth. But if you use charcoal toothpaste like I do, you get all these black specks on your cabinets. Then the hands to the floor. Oh, let's send those hips up. Reorient yourself on your mat, back to the shape of down dog. Maybe one more vinyasa here. And then back to that shape of tabletop. Those toes curled under. Let's shift the hips towards the heels. Repeat performance of this pose. Sit up onto your heels. We did a lot of standing stuff, and there's, like I said, sometimes there's a tendency for us to kind of claw into our mat. This helps to counter that. This is also great if you're a runner and your feet take that pounding, good to stretch out that fascia, or if you just wear really cute, stylish shoes, you probably need this pose as well. Then let's come back to tabletop. Walk your legs back. We're going to come down onto the belly. Shift our elbows up underneath our shoulders for Sphinx pose. Roll your shoulders back and down. Look forward, thinking about your chin being somewhat parallel to the floor. Then our feet, we're going to press the tops of our feet into the mat, almost like you just got a pedicure and you didn't wait and your toenails are stuck to your mat now. And as you press those feet into the floor, let's see if we can lift the belly and the hips off the mat. Press down into your forearms, your palms, tops of your feet, maybe your knees even come off the mat. That's a core pose, but it's also a hip flexor strengthener. Let's bring it back down. It's also unpleasant AF. Curl your toes under. Bring your palms together, maybe interlace the fingers. Then let's lift the knees and the hips off the floor into forearm plank. Look out past your mat. There's always this moment where you think low plank or forearm plank is going to be easier, and then you get in it and you're like, it's not. Now looking forward, walk your feet about 3 steps closer, that booby up. Head is maybe framed by your upper arms. It's called dolphin pose. You can stay static in your dolphin, or swim out over your hands and pull the hips back. It's like a little dolphin jumping through the water. I feel like that sounded like a cow. 2 more. Then the next time you pull that back, 2 more breaths in dolphin. You can do it. Then knees to the floor, hips to the heels in child's pose. Maybe the arms overhead, maybe the arms alongside you where the hands are by the feet. Full breath in, full breath out. How's everyone feeling? I just imagine the unanimous. Great. We're going to do some back bending next. It'll come onto your belly. Hands up under those shoulders. We're going to go into cobra pose. So walk your feet a little closer this time. We do, at best, sort of a drive-through version of cobra when we do our vinyasas, because we typically only hold it for like a breath. This one we're going to hold a little bit longer. So hands under your shoulders. Let's press those hands into the floor and start to lift out. Only take the arms as straight as you can without your shoulders hiking up to your ears or your low back screaming at you. 3 more breaths. Then exhale, back down. Try not to let everything go here. Bring your arms alongside you, palms facing down. Draw those shoulder blades onto the back. Then we're going to lift up the head and the sternum. We're going to lift up the legs. We're going to lift up the hands. You could stay right here in locust pose, or bend one knee, reach back, grab a hold of that foot and ankle. Then do the same with the other leg, and turn this into bow pose. Breathe. Definitely get your heart rate up. Two more breaths. Then on the exhale, as you come down, pillow out of your hands for your head. Windshield wiper your legs. Let them float down. Big breath in, big breath out. And we're going to bring those hands underneath us. Press up to tabletop. Cat-cow moment here. Cat will feel really good after those back bends. Then from here, we're going to come onto our back. We'll do a little bit of core stuff, one more back bend, and then we'll shift everything into hips and hamstrings. So make your way onto your back, knees bent, feet on the floor. The core stuff is not going to be anything particularly crazy. Legs straight up. Bring your ankles and your knees together. Hands, reach those up. Palms are going to face each other. Take an inhale. Exhale, draw that low belly in. So you lift the tailbone off the floor. Then lift your head and shoulders. So it's almost like you're forming like a letter U here. Dip your chin down. Keep flexing through those feet. Keep breathing. Good. That's mostly for me. Good. Hands behind the head. Bend your knees. Let's go right into bicycles here. Opposite elbow, opposite knee. Let your inhale bring you to the center. Your exhale into the twist. Go nice and slow and controlled here. So it's not like Tour de France. It's more like Angela Lansbury, opening credits, Murder, She Sat Down and She Wrote. Let's do one more each side. And then hug in those knees. Feet to the floor. Try to brush your heels with your fingertips. Walk your shoulder blades a little bit onto the back. Pressing up your hips. You could go very small bridge here, or curl that tailbone under. Press the hips up higher. And maybe interlace the hands under you. Good. Tip up the chin. Ground on the inhale, press up on the exhale. Let's do 2 more breaths. And then release those hands. Shoulder blades away from each other. Come down vertebrae by vertebrae. Give those knees a hug. You can either rock up to a seated position or roll to the side and prop up to a seated position. We're going to go for a seated forward fold here. I apologize for the state of my feet. Both legs extended out in front, arms up alongside the head. Reach up on the inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, grab a hold of the feet, the ankles, or the shins. Start with the spine pretty long and maybe not coming over as far. If you have a situation, let's call it, in your low back, I would say this is probably where you would want to stay, pretty long in the spine. Otherwise, you could fold over, which will bring a little bit of brownness into the back. You would just want to avoid that because sometimes we can go so far into it that we kind of curl that tailbone under and end up kind of crunching that low back. So stay a little higher and longer if that's what you need. 3 more breaths here. Then reach through the arms, sweep up on that inhale, exhale, hands alongside the hips. Draw the knees toward you, soles of the feet together. Reach up on your in-breath. Exhale, hinge forward. Tip your chin down. Again, stay long if you are being mindful of a low back issue, or round into it if that's available to you. Sometimes you might have to kind of rock a little bit side to side here for these hips. We're going into some more hip opening after this, so think of this as sort of your searing to get you ready for pigeon pose. Let's do 3 more breaths. And then find that length in the spine. Let's bring our torso up and our knees together. Big breath in, big breath out. So we're going to go into a forward fold version of pigeon next. Now this is a pose that can sometimes be an issue for those of us that maybe have an issue with the knee or the hip. So I'm going to show you an alternative, but then I'm going to demo actual pigeon pose. So you can be on your back, your right ankle onto your left thigh, and then hug this leg in for like a supine threaded needle pose. You will get very similar benefits to pigeon. It's not an exact replacement for it, but you'll still get that IT band, outer glute stuff that you would get in this forward fold version of pigeon. If you're going to pigeon with me, find your way to downward facing dog. Then we're going to bring that right knee up behind our right wrist and bring that left knee down. Now, we want to think about our hips in this pose kind of like we do in Warrior One, meaning that they're facing more forward. So try not to cave into that that right hip. Keep walking that left leg back, uncurl those toes, and then maybe you come down to forearms, elbows. If you're on your back, you're hugging that little leg cross into you. I am already feeling this in that outer right hip. Flex your right foot just a smidge and press that right pinky toe side of your foot into the floor. And then press the top of your left foot into the floor. Think about drawing that left hip down, that right hip up. And then we're going to stop that and see if that helps us to sink into the pose a little more. You might make your way down onto your chest, your forehead on the floor, or you can make a little pillow out of the hands. We're going to go for about 10 more breaths here. Love this pose. About 5 more breaths. And start to walk your hands back towards you. If you were on your back, uncross that ankle from leg and just hug your right knee into your chest and bring your left foot back to the floor. If you're in this pigeon, hop that left knee forward about a step and then press back. Maybe 3-legged dog, maybe all 4 legs, and you pedal out the legs. without further ado, let's bring that left knee up behind the left wrist, left shin or ankle on right thigh if you're doing that. Scoot that right leg back if you're with me. Come down. Now, if you find that you can't get down terribly far, let that front foot be a little further back. Don't think about having to have it up behind this arm. And also, you could fold a blanket or have a small pillow under that front hip. Pinky toe side of left foot pressing into floor, top of right foot pressing into the floor. Almost as feeling like you were trying to draw them together. And then stop and sink into the pose. Again, maybe you make that little pillow out of your hands. If you're on your back, you could rock side to side. Exhaling through the mouth helps you to relax a little bit more into the pose. Do 10 more breaths. About 5 more. This can be a pose where we will sometimes move tension out of our hips and into other areas. So if you notice that your shoulders are hunching up or you're clenching your jaw or your brows are together, see if you can soften there. Those of you in that forward folded pigeon, let's walk the hands back to us, making our way back to, downward facing dog with some pedaling out of the legs. If you're on your back, uncross, hug that left knee into your chest. We're going to make our way down into seated one more time. So come down onto your seat. We're going to do a twist before we get into Shavasana here. So with those legs extended out in front of you, draw that right knee to your chest, then step it to the outside of your left leg. You can either stay with that left leg extended out in front or bring that left heel outside that right hip. If you find that you're hiking up this hip, keep this leg straight. Your left hand is going to come to this right knee. Your right hand is going to come behind you. Lengthen up on that inhale. Exhale. Take a little twist towards the right. Some people will stay like I am with this left hand to knee. Some people will be able to get that left elbow outside the knee. And some people will be able to take that left hand to that bottom knee. Depends on how much quarantine snacks you've been consuming. Ardha Matsyendrasana, such a great twist for the whole spine and those hips. And then we're going to release that to the center. A very slight counter twist to the other side. Then we're going to switch it out. So left leg on top, right leg on the bottom. Remember, you can always extend this bottom leg. I just did like a little can thing there. Right hand to your left knee, left hand behind you. Lengthen up that spine. And exhale, take that twist. In the process of that twist, there's a little bit of drawing this top leg into your chest. Make sure you're not hiking that left sit bone up into space. Another breath. Let's let go of that. Slight twist to that other side. And when you come back, free up the legs, give them a little shake. Now find your way onto your back. Go ahead and lie down, preparing for Shavasana. If you have wall space, you could move over to your wall, do legs up the wall. Otherwise, as you lie on your back, soften your shoulders, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, fill up the belly, the ribs, the chest. Open the mouth. Again, inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Pause at the top this time. Then open the mouth. Now this time as you take that breath in, tighten all the muscles as you breathe in. Make fists out of hands and feet. Squeeze the glutes, draw the belly in, shrug up the shoulders, scrunch up the face. Hold. Open the mouth, soften everything. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath, tightening everything along the way. Hold that breath at the top. Sip in a little more. A little more. Open the mouth, release everything. This is that part of the class where we let ourselves drop into that space of being versus doing. This is also that part of the class where we feel the echo of our practice. Calmness of breath, space in the body, maybe space between thoughts. And this is also that part of the practice where we take all the benefits that we've cultivated over the last hour, balance, stability, strength, endurance, and we prepare to take those with us off the mat. Give yourself about another 5 minutes here. I appreciate you joining me today. And as David Rose would say, best wishes and warmest regards. And as I'll say, namaste.